Well, it's my day off, so you know what that means? Cold and rainy. But anyways, behind me here is a 2006 Arctic Cat, 4-wheel drive, 400cc with a 5-speed semi-automatic transmission. I guess they don't have a model name for these things, but since we already got this red cat over here, this blue Chinese one, we're going to call this the Big Cat. It doesn't have spark. We're going to try to fix it. Let's keep going. From what I understand, this is a one-owner Arctic Cat. I quit running on him while he was up in the mountains hunting. They've replaced some things, but I'll tell you what I think it is here in a minute. It is already up on the lift. It's working overtime, but as you can see, I had to throw a 2x6 in there. Eventually I'm going to weld in a cross member up there up front. The way I pick up four-wheelers is this way, and typically their frames come in, get real narrow, and they tend to drop through unless they have like Nerf bars or something. But as you can see, you know, this thing is pretty clean, pretty unmolested. I really haven't looked at it really. Tires are a little dry cracked there. The rears were low. It is a semi-automatic. These either came in automatic or semi-automatic, so it is a 5-speed, which I think is cool. Electric start plus manual. Most utility four-wheelers do have that backup. As you can see, they got a new gasket here on the stator side, and they replaced the stator. I believe they replaced the key because that was, for one, it's blue, and that's a pretty good indicator that it's a cheap Chinese one off of like eBay or something. And it was also super loose, and I mean, even the nut came off from just riding home. They did replace the cluster up there. It's got a trunk here, but there's the original one. I'm not sure if that holds the hours or the machine does, but the battery is not only disconnected but dead, so I haven't even heard it crank electronically. It does have a new voltage regulator. The old one is still up there, I'd assume. They just wanted to see if it would work or not, and they didn't want to take off the plastics to try to get to it. Which, oh, you don't have to. The bolts are right there. Anyways, I saw those unplugged, and I was like, well, that's why it won't start. But then I found that pushed up in there. So, anyways, that'll get back to my theory. Now, I bought this as a 2004. Where did I find the VIN at? Yes, oh, right there. Okay, so it's important to know what you have. A lot of people buy quads just taking the word of the owner and never confirming it, you know, unless they have a title or something. But how you read a VIN? So the first letter is going to be the country of origin from where it was built. So like 1 and 2 is the United States, 3 is Canada, J is Japan, K is Korea. I think 4 is also Canada. I could be wrong. They say they're U.S. made, but it is a Suzuki engine. Anyways, and then the second letter is always the company that made it. I guess Arctic Cat is U, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. Anyways, the important number in here is the 10th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is a 6. So that makes this a 2006. In 2000, they went back to numbers, and they went all the way back up to 9. And then in 2010, they started over the alphabet, which is A. So a 2010 would have an A in that 10th digit spot. Now, anything made 1976 and newer here in the States will have a VIN number just like that. They have to be that way. The last 4 of the VIN is going to be the unique portion of the VIN that is unique to this vehicle. Everything before that would be the same for all the years and such. It'll also tell you which plant it was made, which engine it is, if it's a 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, which transmission, so on and so forth. But anyways, there's the VIN. It's got some very sun-faded saddlebags and passenger seat. And I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it has a sticker that says don't do that. but really pretty clean. I didn't see any oil leaks. It's really a good looking quad, especially with it being 4-wheel drive. A lot of times they're pretty torn up. It could use a winch, and if the guy I'm thinking is going to buy it, we will end up putting one on, I'm sure. I did see that there's some cut wires there. Not really sure what those do yet, but I'm sure we will get to it. So there's the engine. It's air cooled. I guess there's a little bit of oil coming from that the cam plug, but it does have a oil cooler there that is fan cooled, and that's for the transmission and the engine. All right, so the battery is dead. My dang Harbor Freight battery charger won't turn on unless it senses a battery, and it's so dead that it won't even sense it. So I'm gonna have to probably do a jumper wire system with a good battery to charge it up a little bit enough to charge again. But anyways, I threw another one in it and everything came on. Anytime I try to crank it, it has a bad connection, but that at least gives me hope that it's not completely fucked. So bad connection because I just literally got him laying on there. Plus that's a Raptor 660 battery, and it's actually bad itself. I think it holds like 8 volts at a time or something like that. But anyways, this shares the same engine with the Suzuki Eager, or however you want to say it. They're notorious for having a bad flywheel. They glue the magnets onto the flywheel that spin around and make the voltage, which sends the signal for the spark. They come apart and they take out the stator for one, and then two, they don't work. Anyways, they re-engineered them, I think around 2007-ish. But anyways, that's what I'm hoping it is. That's what I'm thinking it is. So what we're gonna do is tear into that the stator cover here, see what we can see. If it is, it should be plainly obvious. What we're gonna have to do is to make room, take off all this footing here, take off the shifter, take off the recoil starter, the hand crank, take off the shifter, and then remove probably the 82,000 bolts that it has, along with anything else we see. All right, guys, as you can see, I took off the foot thing here. I'm not sure the technical name. Word of advice, if you're going to be working on Archicats, make sure you have a T30 and a T40. They really likes their Torx to include even the shifter bolt. What was it, Torx? A lot of water in here. Doesn't look like there's a gasket, but I might hit it with some RTV just around the edges just to keep moisture out of there. Well, good news is they all appear to be the same size, so that's easy going back together. Alright guys, note to self, make sure you drain the oil, or you'll have to lower the whole machine back down, readjust it, put the board further back so you can get to the drain plug, and then drain the oil. Just FYI. All right, so yeah, I did put that one back in. I got that one left, and then the one I literally just put in. I still got to get that one. I got to get a wobble out to get it out. Then that line there, and it should come off. I may have to take that wire off there. Maybe I can just undo it. Oh, wrong way. Not sure what that is, but it's gonna need a new gasket. Looks like it only had half of one anyways. These are the only ones that are long and have a washer. So I'm just gonna put those back in its spot so I don't lose them. Okay, then I see like a 12 millimeter right there. Other than that, I think that's it, and I honestly don't know if it's not one to come off with that on there, so let's take it off. Well, that was definitely long enough to where that would have been holding it on there. See what happens. Yep. And then I should be fighting the magnet, or the magnetic between the stator and the flywheel. Come on. Alright guys, I think I got it here. I just kind of grabbed on by that guy and where the stator wires go in. Grabbed her by the ears and just kind of pulled back. Once she kind of broke free, I just took 2 screwdrivers, probably small pry bars would work a little bit better. Kind of put them on both sides. Kind of walk it back and forth like that. Okay. So moment of truth here, guys. Well, based on the sound of that. So yep. Has the original flywheel in there. That was a washer that fell down in there. Have to figure out where she goes. Oh, probably on that shifter right there. Hey guys, I got it off here. Honestly, it looks okay. Other than that piece there missing. Typically what I found is these will be loose and completely gone. But I can't remember if there was a natural void there or not. Huh. Well, they there's that new stator. Looks like it's a cheapo, of course. This is why I put good parts on anything. Everything else looked good. Well, I'm gonna have to do some more research. I think it's gonna be that guy there. $100 will get me a new flywheel. And since they've already changed out the regulator, the CDI box looks original, and the stator, and they still have no spark. I'd assume it's a signal issue from that guy there. We got parts. So I was able to look up a OE picture, and it's supposed. That's what this one looks like. Big gap there. little gap there, kind of close there. This is what it's supposed to look like. Evenly spaced out, whole 9 yards. This is what the updated design looks like. One solid pressed in magnet all the way around. I got that from Vito's Performance, I think is what they're called. So take off the 22 millimeter nut that holds the flywheel on. You do need a special puller. I think this was like 30 bucks after tax. Puller comes with a thread saver where that 22 millimeter was. It threads on there, and that's what you press up against instead of trying to push on the crank itself. Take a better look at that. So yeah. So put that on, take the big puller, it threads on to the outside of the flywheel. Tighten that down with a like an adjustable wrench, and then just take your impact or a 17 millimeter, start spinning. Eventually she'll pop. As you can see, I've already done this one. I just wanted to make sure it was going to work until I turned on the camera. Don't judge me. So then you take this off, and you have to take this off because the thread protector is bolted onto the crank, not the flywheel, so that'll stop it. So take that off, and then pull it the rest of the way off. You will need to reuse your one-way clutch, which is there on the back. Looks like it's going to be all those Allen heads. You want to make sure that your wood drift key, that guy, is still there. All those threads look good. And then you can just leave the one-way gear on there. It'll sit into the clutch. So new one, old one, all they did was press in a magnet, a full one, instead of these glued on ones that can obviously come out and have voltage spikes kind of back and forth. They really need that constant magnetic field to create that voltage, to create the signal to send the spark. So what we need to do is to unbolt the one-way clutch. So these are kind of ramped, and as you are hitting the starter button, it grabs. See how they kind of ramped there? Kind of ramped down. So as you're as you're hitting the starter, the ramps kind of extend like that, and then switch out after it starts, and that'll prevent the starter from constantly spinning. It's kind of cool. A lot of four-wheelers like Raptor 660s have a big problem with the one-ways. Other designs, not so much. All right, so they're going to be Allen 6. Well, at least they're still magnetic. Focus. So then just take your impact and knock them out. Always start all 6 by hand. Last thing you want to do is shear one of these off or strip one out. Just like that, guys, we're going back together. Ooh. Yeah, you see those reflexes? So there's the wood drift key slot. Should slide in pretty easy as long as you catch it. So you want to make sure that your clutch gear, your starter clutch gear, falls into the teeth. You can also use that 22 millimeter by hand to try to help it kind of slide in over it. It is a new part. It's probably going to be pretty high tension. Just once you get it kind of seated on there, make sure it only goes one way. Obviously that'll spin the engine and then it freewheels going that way. All right, so use a big crescent wrench, adjustable wrench. Make sure it's a good one. I don't cheap out with those. That is a snap-on one. It's because it doesn't have any play in the gear itself. Run that down to spec. Spec for me is Ooga Dooga. Several of them. I don't think she's coming off. So again, make sure the starter clutch works. Careful, don't pinch your finger in there. And it does. So I'm gonna get on partzilla.com and just look up an exploded diagram. I had a few of these washers fall off. I'm fairly certain that one goes there. That was off as well. I'm fairly certain that goes there. Then I thought there was one other one that I just wasn't quite sure about. And I'm just going to be sure that I got all of them. Well, I'm fairly certain I got it all right. Couldn't find the exact diagram for it. But that washer fits snug on there. It's loose everywhere else. I think it'll be all right. I'm gonna send it. All right. I did get a new gasket. This one's not old by any means, but I still, anytime I take something off with a gasket, I always like to put a new one on. So I'm just gonna clean up that bottom surface there and get the new one. Boom. Okay. Nice. Guys, I got about 98% buttoned up here. I've been testing the starter periodically just to make sure that, you know, binding, and it seems like, unless it's binded now, nope. So that's with the electric start. Seems like it's doing good. So I've just got to button the rest of this back up. Gonna clean that up again. Throw another thin layer of RTV just to stop it from leaking oil. Guys, it backfired like a son of a bitch. I wish I got it on camera for you guys, but anyways, she runs. So like I said, I'm still waiting on a battery, so I robbed the one out of the 400EX. If you haven't seen that video, please check it out. And it just doesn't have enough cold cranking amperage to turn the motor over. But it does have manual start, and it's pissing fuel everywhere out of that hose. Well, hold on. Pissing fuel like crazy, but she runs. Hot damn. And completely swapped out the line. It was just probably a 6-inch section there that went down to a inline filter. Still dead. Oh my god, it must be on compression. Choke. Oh, I think it's got a either bad fuel, carburetor issue. Well, she doesn't like to idle, but she runs again. Carburetor still needs cleaned. There's that. Alright guys, so ignore that mess. I got the carburetor off the Archicat there. Like I said, it's got a terrible idle problem. Oh great, That one's stripped out. That one's partially stripped out. It's got a really bad idle problem. It's probably, I think it's been sitting for a while. Well, at least it came out. And the carburetor probably needs a good cleaning. The key to getting these screws out is the right screwdriver. Have a good head on it, and make sure you have a lot of downwards pressure, so you don't strip out the head. It's pretty easy to do with these things. A pair of needle nose vice grips can get you by if you got one stuck. I mean, at first glance, it's not terrible. That's the accelerator pump, and it is working, so that's good. Surprised me there. It really doesn't have a problem accelerating, so I think that the accelerator pump's fine. So yeah, I got a lot of brake clean in my eye in that video. That's why it ended abruptly. After that, after I washed out my eye and finally it quit somewhat burning, I've been pepper sprayed before, and brake clean feels worse. Probably because, you know, it'll deteriorate your eye, but it is what it is. Now, after that, I lost all motivation to record anything. So I finished up the carburetor, put it back on the bike. Now that Arctic-Cat, it was partially disassembled when I bought it, specifically the air box. It was just the first air box from the factory. It's supposed to have the first air box, then a tube that goes up to the front, and then another air box kind of underneath the front plastics. That's typically what you remove when you do a snorkel system. So I was given the front box. It says that it belongs to it. I couldn't figure out how it worked or how it sat in there. I was missing pieces. I had to order some. Turns out there was no air filters in it whatsoever, so it was sucking air. The air-fuel ratio was off. The fuel-air mixture screw on the carburetor had RTV bunched up at the base, so I had to like dig that out because they had it so far adjusted out to try to get it more rich because they were running so much air to get it to even run. It was a mess. So anyways, figured all that out. I've had the 400EX, the 300EX videos, the Chinese four-wheeler, all come in the middle of the doing the Arctic-Cat videos. And, you know, I lost momentum for that particular four-wheeler. So that's where this video ends, because this happened. Don't mind me. Got it running good, everything like that. Got it listed, and within a couple days, somebody came and bought it. I valued that four-wheeler at like $3,500, somewhere right in there. I listed it. I didn't fix 100%, but it was a good running four-wheeler. Needed a little bit of pieces, so I marketed it as such. I tried not to have crazy prices on my stuff because I like them to sell. If I get a good deal, I pass the savings on to the buyer as well. So that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching this far. Sorry the video kind of had an abrupt ending there. I will have an in-depth carb cleaning video one of these days that I don't get brake clean in my eye. So again, appreciate you tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, interact. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. I'm not an expert by any means. If I can help you out, I will. But always remember, guys, keep between the ditches, unless that's where you intend to go. Catch you next time.